Hello and welcome back to the Finding Your Feet podcast, a podcast show dedicated to helping you get close to your true authentic self by helping you find your feet in life. This is episode 85.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. We are joined today by Ella Ringrose, a golden oldie of the podcast. We've had her on before, and a lot of our listeners are also her listeners as well. And she is just a fabulous person. And she's been on a journey of transformation. We last recorded with her about 7 months ago, and she is a completely different person in a good way. And so are we. And so we just joined together for spiritual girl chats. And it's bloody good. Like, put your seatbelts in, get yourself ready. We're going to make this intro quick because obviously this episode is pretty long, but I strongly advise you listen to the entire thing because there is fire throughout. Let's just say that.
Yeah, literally the whole thing. We get so deep. There's a lot of vulnerability, but just so much wisdom, so many enlightenment moments. Like, you're literally going to absolutely love it.
Yeah, we literally cover so much. We cover everything that she's up to now, because if you follow her, then you will have seen she's literally moved countries. She's completely changed her life and is living this fabulous life abroad. She has like completely shifted her like journey of like her sense of self, like her authenticity, really stepping into who she is. And there's a huge part of this episode all about the divine feminine awakening, which was such a beautiful part of the conversation. And that is nearer the second half, so you need to stick with it to listen to it all. But yeah, we literally cover so much, and we cover like loads of spiritual crazy stuff too. So
yeah.
But we're not going to reveal too much because you're just going to listen to the episode, and we're not going to drag this intro out. But hope you guys enjoy the combo. But one very, very, very important quick little announcement before we let this conversation commence. Our webinars are back. Can we get a woo woo? We took a break because we wanted to get some new ideas. Everyone was loving the webinars, but we were like, we want to do more. We want to level this up. We want to bring something new. We want to take this to a new level. So we took some time out to really bash our heads together and think of how we can make these even more amazing. So we are back on the 29th of July. The Self-Belief Embodied Experience webinar is coming to you at 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. GMT, so UK time, live on Zoom. I know we've got global listeners. I know we had some global attendees at the last webinar. We had people joining us from Barbados, America. So it's 3 p.m., 7 p.m. UK time, but you can join us from wherever you are in the world. And it's going to be incredible. So it's going to be very different to our normal webinars. Hence the title, Embodied Experience. This evening is going to be an evening of experience. And we have a very exciting, amazing person that you all love that is joining us for the last section of this workshop.
Yeah, I cannot wait for this because this is what we have been doing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like in this like kind of space of time, like over quite a long period actually, this is what we've been doing, embodying and working with our bodies, and it's just a whole different medium. And I think to bring that in a webinar is just going to be incredible.
Yeah, and like no one else is doing this kind of thing.
No, like
this is new, this is revolutionary. You are only going to get this here. So it's going to be a fun evening of connecting you into your body. You're going to feel relaxed. It's going to be beautiful. And then obviously the theme of it is self-belief. So we are going to do what we usually do when we give you inspiring, empowering tools, tips, knowledge to take away all about self-belief. We're really going to do loads of exercises to really get you working on your self-belief, going to get you identifying what it is that you want and then embodying what you want, that self-belief, by bringing you all the embodiment modalities into one evening. And we're just going to spend the night together. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be so fun. You're going to vibe so high. And yes, the amazing guest that's coming to join us, who we love, and we know you guys love him too, Breathe with James. Woo! We're so excited. We're so literally so beyond happy to have James partnering with us on this. So he's going to join us for the last section of the workshop and lead a breathwork for manifestation practice for us all. So we're going to really get into our bodies, because that is what breathwork really is, that like embodiment practice. Like that's one of the amazing ones, as well as many others which we're going to do with you on the night. But we are having Breathe with James join us to guide us through manifestation breathwork, which is going to be so amazing. So yeah, it's going to be very different to the last one. So if you've been to our webinars before, this will be like nothing you've experienced before. And if you've never joined us, you're in for a hoot. And we can't wait. So the tickets are on our website, findingyourfeetpodcast.com. We've left a link in the show notes. So go on there to grab yours and join us for this special evening.
I can't wait. I literally can't wait. You guys are going to love it, especially with James. You know how much we love him and how life-changing it's been for us.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, that's the thing. I only want to bring people on this podcast who've actually, like, we do their work, or they really touched our hearts. Like, we really resonate with them. And James, what he does, his breathwork has been life-changing for us.
Yeah.
So for us to be able to bring that to you in a workshop is just amazing. It means a lot to us. So yeah, it's going to be so fun. So get your tickets on the website. We've left the link in the show notes. But if you've got any questions about it, you want to know anything else, you know where to find us on Instagram. If you want more information about it, we'll be talking about it a lot on Instagram in the run up to it. So make sure you follow us on there at Find Your Feet Podcast. Okay, so we'd like to welcome Ella Ringrose back on the show. We've had her on the podcast before. It was in November, so it was about 6-7 months ago now. And we just love following Ella's journey, and she has been on a big transformation since we last spoke, and I feel like we're very different people as well. So we brought her back on the show so we can have a little catch up, find out what is going on in the world of Ella, what she's been learning, and you guys all... I feel like most of our listeners know who you are, because they've, like, that episode we did with you was really, really popular. So,
amazing.
Yeah, but for anyone that doesn't know who you are, this might be their first time listening to our podcast, you should just briefly introduce yourself.
Yes. Gosh, I used to be so good at this, and now I'm like, I don't even know what to say. My name is Ella, and I am obsessed with literally everything spirituality. Like, it's all I think about, all I do. It's my obsession. And so I like to share that online. So I do YouTube mainly, and I just teach women how to step into their most authentic self. And I teach people about the spiritual realm and how to use quantum physics and many different things, but really just help people get into a spiritual journey. And like, people are waking up faster than ever. Like, the world is going through a crazy, crazy shift right now. So I think it's a blessing that we're all here to help others get into this sort of path. Yeah. Or whatever path they choose.
Beautiful. So let's jump in. What have you been up to? Your life is so different from when we last saw you, and just everything. You're like a different person now.
Yeah, it's really funny because last time we were on the podcast in November, which is crazy. That's like 7 months ago, by the way. Like, ever since like lockdown and everything, like time has like flown. Like, it's absolutely crazy. But it's so crazy when I think back to that girl. Like, I was actually really unhappy, and everything was going amazing in my career, and like, I thought it was everything I'd wanted, but deep down I just like, something is missing, like insanely missing. And I think that was a difficult time for everyone, because everyone was going through isolation. We're told to sit with ourselves, be alone, like something most people in the world don't do, because they were so, stimulated by the outside world. And so I think it was a difficult time for everyone, and a huge transition. So I feel like I feel like a different person. Like, I walk around the streets now and I just feel like I'm a 70-year-old woman. I like just watching people, like, I'm like, oh, they're such cute, like, young kids enjoying their life. And I'm like, Ella, you're literally 22 and you're looking at like 25-year-olds being like, oh, they're so amazing. Like, I feel extremely different. So I'm excited to like share. I've just been learning so much. And I think it's going to be really applicable, like really helpful for women, because there's so many things I need to share with you guys, but like, I don't want to not scare you, because it's like, there's just so much stuff I've been learning about, like, I can't wait to talk. But I think in the 7 months, I don't know about you guys, but I've just been on a complete journey of going within and finding out who I am, because I was very good at wearing a mask and pretending to be this person, and everything was fine, and oh yeah, I'm good, like life's great, like I'm to know all this. And that was the reason I actually got into self-development when I was 17, was because I was so insecure. What's an amazing way to put on a front and say that everything's fine is getting into self-development, because then you're aware of everyone's problems and you're like, I'm aware of everything, I know everything. And so it was like this amazing like ego feeling that I was feeling. And then a few months ago I just had to be honest with myself and being like, okay, Ellie, you have to drop this. Like you really have to be honest with yourself and honor how you're feeling. And if you're feeling sad, or if you're feeling really lonely or depressed or whatever, you just sit with that. And through doing, I think, shadow work for like 7, like I've really started to get into it when we started talking. So much has changed. Yeah, just internally. Nothing externally as well. I've moved country and stuff, but like, it's all internal, really.
Yeah. No, I love it. Yeah, don't worry about scaring us. I think you should just go for it.
Go wild. Because people will crazy conversation.
Yeah, and people will just take what they will, like when they're ready to hear it. So don't worry about that at all. But let's start with, so you moved away from Ireland, right? And then I feel like this is where this huge shift seems to have come.
Yeah.
So tell us about that. Like, why did you decide to move, and what's been happening since?
Well, I have always been someone who likes to control my life. Like I like to know what's happening when things are, it doesn't mean I'm organized, and it doesn't mean I'm reliant. Like it doesn't mean like if you say, oh Ella, like I'll meet you here on Tuesday at 6, that I might be like, oh, I don't know if I can make it. Like I'm not, but when it comes to control, I like to know what is happening. Like, and that's something I was never aware of. That was a huge shadow aspect of me. Like I liked to control, manipulate the outside world because I felt so unsafe. And so a couple months ago, I was just on my knees being like, the pain, it was awful. Like it was just, when you get into your shadow and you start going into your inner child, it's like this box opens and you're just a mess. Like you're literally, your traumas, your pain, everything is just there. And like nothing can fix that. No affirmations or anything can like put you into a happy space. You have to sit with it. And so in that part, I just surrendered. And I said, I surrender for my ego. Like I'm not going to allow my ego to dictate what happens. Like I allow universe, I say God, but it's whatever people understand from their understanding. I allow you to guide me. And so my brother had moved out here to the Canaries, and I was in lockdown. Oh, everyone was in lockdown, but I was in an apartment for like 6 months and really, really isolating myself. I didn't have a lot of friends in Ireland, so I just really was sitting with myself doing shadow work every day. And like, although it was really healing, I was absolutely miserable. And so my brother was like, you need to come out here. And the island I'm living on it's a vortex. So it's like Arizona or Bali. It has a very, very powerful energy here, like a very beautiful energy where everything's enhanced. So I decided to book a ticket and I surrendered, and that's the guidance I was given, like move out to here and like this is your path. And so I booked my ticket and I signed a lease on my apartment, which I actually got someone to sign the lease over, which was so lucky because like the moment I decided that was the path, everything just aligned so fast. Like I was able to get someone to move into my apartment, which I thought was going to be so difficult. And I was able to get out of a lease. Like it was amazing. So I moved over here, and then I've been here like 2.5 months. And the first month was probably, and this is the crazy thing about social media, and I'm going to be honest, is like if you were to look on my Instagram and be like, oh my god, she's living on an island, this looks beautiful, this looks amazing, the first month was probably the hardest month of my entire life. And I was so what's the word, like mind messed about it. Like I was waking up in literally paradise and I felt miserable inside. Like I felt empty, and I just felt confused, and I felt so lost and still so attached to the ego. And so I don't know what happened about a month and a half ago, but I just was like, I came to this realization that no one cares about you in the way you think people do. And all my life I care what people think, like so much. It's actually disgraceful, which everyone does. Even if we say we don't, we do. It was for the first time I really just realized like this, I am me, and this is the only person I'm with. Like, of course I have loved ones, I have friendships, relationships, all these things. It's like, you've got to let go of this mask of who you're trying to be. And like, you're holding on for dear life. Like I'm like literally on a cliff clinging on, but if I actually just let go, there's a trampoline that's going to catch me. Okay. And I was so attached to it. So I let go, and like, I've never felt more free in my entire life. Like I reached just this point of ultimate surrender and just acceptance. And now I feel like I was moved up to a new level of ascension that I just feel so free. And like I was saying to you girls before we started recording, is like I've stopped consuming like books. Like I don't read books anymore. I don't watch YouTube at all, which is quite ironic because I do YouTube. But I've just stopped consuming a lot of stuff. I listen to a podcast here and there. I really enjoy podcasts, but for a lot of the time I've just stopped consuming, and I literally just sit with myself and sit with my inner being. And my intuition has been guiding me to the most craziest and magical epiphanies and moments and experiences, because I'm not in control anymore. I'm letting my heart guide me. And in that, I have like my intuition has been telling me like all these things that I have to give up. And it's been like absolutely crazy. So like since moving here, it's a very hippie island. Like it's very free. Like I remember I don't know if I said this before, but like I was on the beach once and there was this girl naked playing the guitar in the sea. And I was just looking at her. And for a moment, I'm like, oh my God, like what the hell? And then another part of me is like, I wish I could do that. Like that is the most terrifying thing I've ever. Like she's literally naked. There was like hundreds of people on the beach, bear in mind, and she's playing guitar like oh yeah, like just, and she's like our age. Like she's not like an old woman. Like she's our age. And I was like, wow, like people really do not care here. No one cares about you the way you think they do. And so that was when I really realized like, okay, I can be whoever I want to be. And so through that, stripping back, my intuition's been telling me all these different things, which is actually something I really want to get into. Is like, I'm not into, I hate the word conspiracy theory and like, but I do I do believe the world or the matrix is created in a way to keep us a very low vibration, and to keep our consciousness very closed, very, very closed off. You know, such as if you go into every single bar or restaurant, alcohol is like the first thing you see. And I believe spirits, that's why they call it spirit. It's like when you drink it, you're ingesting a spirit that then gets to run around like a car. Like your body is the car for them so that they can act a bit crazy for a little while. But if you just look around, my intuition has just been telling me all the things I need to let go of in this quote unquote matrix. And through unraveling all these sort of things, I've never felt more free. So one of the biggest things my intuition told me was like, you need to quit perfume, which was absolutely crazy. And I didn't want to hear that. That freaked me out like so much. Like, what the hell? Like, or even fake tan. That was another one. Which about a year ago, I remember, I don't know if you want me to talk about these sort of things, because like it's, yeah.
No, yeah, go for it.
So a year ago, I remember I was meditating for a really long time. And I also say, like, when you hear these things, it's like planting a seed. It doesn't mean you need to quit these things. Like, it could be, you need, like, maybe you need to use this for 10 more years before you decide maybe not, or maybe you just use your whole life, right? So I do believe that, like, when we hear these things, it doesn't mean that you have to do it yourself, literally. Like, we're all at our own paces and we're all doing it our own way. And so, but yeah, my intuition a year ago was like, you need to stop fake tan. Like your skin is the largest organ in your entire body. And I've been wearing it for 8 years. Like I didn't even know what my natural skin color was anymore. Like and it was controlling me. Like it was this mask I was wearing of protection. Like me and my friend, like one of my best friend, we were talking because we both gave it up together. And we were like, it's actually crazy how much it controlled us. Like we would only allow ourselves to stay in the sea for 10 minutes if we were on holiday, because God forbid I came out and my tan was washed off. Or like, if like I was invited out somewhere, or like I'd see friends or on a date and I didn't have tan on, like I'd be like, no, I'm not going out. And it was just this like thing that was dictating my whole life. And it was absolutely crazy how much I let it control me. And it's so crazy because there's some people who have such a good intention to it and it feels so pure to them. It feels so clean. It makes them happy. It makes them confident. And that's amazing. But for me, it was like, I am nothing without this. Like this, like they have control over me. Like this tan, like it was an actual being. And so I started researching all about this a year ago. And about 9 years ago, all of these doctors were coming out and saying like, you know, it's really bad for your organs because, you know, whatever you put in your skin goes right into the bloodstream and goes all throughout your organs, all through your heart. And so you're literally ingesting all of this products, which I was putting on multiple times a week. And I was researching this, and at the time I was like, no, like I do not want to hear this. Like I was like, I just have like my hair extensions and like tan. I was like, no, like it was far too terrifying for me to let go of that. So I let it go. But then when I moved here, my intuition was like, Ella, you need to freaking let this go. Like this is crazy. But it's so interesting how when we are conditioned to believe something is so acceptable or normal, it's like we don't question these things. And I think it's so important that we do question things, and we listen to our internal and then we listen to our heart. So if like someone's listening to this and their heart's like, no, I'm fine wearing this, that's amazing. But for me, it was telling me like otherwise. But this is what's so powerful
Yeah.
about the heart and the intuition and the inner guidance, is like we have all the answers within us. And it's something I don't think people want to hear, because we're in an age where people are so obsessed with more information, and we're so obsessed with earning as much information as possible. But we have to get into the age of embodiment, where we're embodying all of these things and we're actually using these things in our daily life, like embodying it, right? Instead of like, and this is something I did. I bought every course under the sun. I've read every book you can think of, literally. Everything, like consumption. And like, I don't remember 99% of it. But what I do know is I remember is the things that my heart are like, this is what you need to do. So there was that. And then when I decided to quit fake tan, this whole like holistic sort of approach started entering, where the next thing they were like, okay, you need to stop using like spray deodorants. And so I started researching, and I was like, I don't even understand how these are in shops. Like, how are these allowed? Like, how are the like all these things that like the matrix, like I just, the more you awaken and you ascend, the more you see through things, and you're like, how is this real? And it's a thing that I fear the path, a little bit of fear of going down this path, because I fear being that girl that's like gonna live in a forest and be a raw vegan. And like, I fear that, like, I really fear that. Like, I don't want, like, because I used to judge the people. Like, if I saw someone like, oh, like they're just free spirits and dancing around naked, I'd be like, okay, like, you know, hold on. And the truth is like, I'm afraid that I'm coming into that, because I've been on the judgment side, and I fear that judgment, which is just another lesson I'm learning. But when I started looking into all these things, I was like, this, like, everything in the system is so perfectly like created. Like, this was no mistake. Like, everything I look at now and the way the world is set up, the paradigms, the systems, and they're all crumbling now. And that's why I think it's the most amazing time to be alive, regardless of what people think. I really think like we all chose to come here at this moment. We knew this was going to happen, because the world is literally ascending from 3D, which is the ego, the mind, like looking at everything as like, we used to look at things like, okay, like that guy's hot, like I like his body, like that, like the 3D part of him, like the flesh, like the just the visuals of people, like the 3D, the money, the all of these sort of things. And we're ascending to 5D, which is literally feeling through vibration. So instead of like thinking, do I like this guy with your mind, it's like an energetic thing, like, wow, like the energy here, like that's what's happening in this world. It's like we're literally transcending, the whole world is going through this, like it's completely changing. And so it's like, everything we've been taught, we're like, what the hell, this doesn't resonate, what the hell, all of these things we're seeing, we're like, I don't even know what to believe anymore. And I think that's the exciting part about the journey, is because you go on this whole self-discovery. Like, there's never going to be an endpoint in your life where you feel the most fulfilled, or you feel like there's never going to be that point, because that's all in the ego. The ego is always chasing that moment that it's going to allow itself to be free, and that's the trick of the ego. It likes to hide. But it's a whole thing of self-discovery. And like, so here there's a lot of beaches. And so another thing I was looking into was like shoes, right? Like things you just never think of. Like the first thing when you're born, you wear shoes. Like, yeah, like of course I'm not going to walk around barefoot in the shop. Like, absolutely not. But like, basically I made really good friends with this yoga teacher here, and she is who I aspire to be. She's so cool. She doesn't wear any shoes, like literally ever. And so I started like researching into it, and like, basically, of course, Mother Earth, like the planet, is a consciousness, a huge consciousness. Same with the moon. Mother Earth is what creates life. It's the sea, the ocean, the wind, the nature. It's literally what creates life. It creates food for us. It's literally the feminine. It's Mother Nature. Okay, it's Gaia. And so I started to think like, I started to walk barefoot on the beach like all the time. Like, it was just this thing, and I was like, wow, I feel amazing. And so I started looking into shoes, and the shoes in rubber basically create literally a barrier that block off vibration that Mother Earth is giving us. So when we don't wear shoes on a beach or in the grass, we're literally receiving energy and light codes and downloads and all these things from the spiritual realm. Like, it literally gives you energy. Like I know people use coffee, but it's so crazy to me. Like, it's so crazy to hear this. Like, it sounds funny, but like, I'd say you get the same amount of energy if you go barefoot in the grass for 10 minutes a day. It's like the equivalent of coffee. Like, you get this rush of energy that I cannot describe. And the ingredients in every single shoe is that it blocks off that vibration. It literally cuts off any form of that natural vibration going through to your body. That's what roots you into the ground. That keeps your root chakra grounded in this earth, so that, you know, we're not like up in the spiritual realm, like we're here to be humans, you know, which is another thing that I definitely got really caught up in, is like literally living in the fairies and living up there, because I was meditating and opening my third eye, but like I was so disconnected from the world. Like I was like, money, what is that? Like, you know, just it was getting a bit too, you know. But that was something that just fascinated me. That, and then I started looking into like bras, which is like, no, I know it's going to be hard because it's so conditioned on us. Like from the moment we grow boobs, it's like, okay, wear a bra. And I started researching into bras, and like and this is definitely not, I'm not a scientist, and this is definitely not going to be as scientific as I think. And also, I don't want, the thing is, when I started learning about this stuff, I got so afraid, because I'm like, like I'm going to die. Like if I continue doing all these things, like I'm going to get an illness. Like I freaked out. It's just about spreading awareness and allowing people, if they want to do it or not. It's not about like creating more fear. Like it's just about being like, okay, this is so cool. Like how lucky am I to be aware of this, and like to be so conscious that I'm aware of these things. But this is, could be wrong. I could get like a message on Instagram being like, this was all wrong. But to some degree, there is like 2 lymphatic drainages right underneath your, like your boobs. And that's where the bra wires dig into. And bras naturally block the lymphatic that your body's doing to drain your entire body, and like everything in your body that keeps it running. Bras literally block off all of that. And so it's actually been proven that it's very cancerous, bras, which is something that like I never even like thought. And I started looking into these more. I mean, like, have you ever, you guys definitely, every girl knows this, is like, you have been out all day, the first thing you come home, what do? Take off your bra, because it's literally the most uncomfortable thing. And this is the thing, this is where it stemmed into another thing. So like I basically stopped wearing them as much. I just wear like dresses, so or like strapless dresses. Okay. And I started doing that, and I just started to feel so free, and I felt incredible. I felt like this energy that was awakening, like kind of like a kundalini awakening, just this energy activating within my heart that I'd never experienced before, because I'd let go of the tan that was caging me. I let go of a bra that was literally caging our body, that also pushes our shoulders forward when our shoulders meant to be back. We're meant to be like high and prominent, so that the energy can flow like through us. And so I stopped doing that. And then the next thing, my intuition was like, I know it's getting like too far, but it's like, you need to stop wearing necklaces. No, and I was like, are you actually kidding me? Like really? Necklaces, like what's that to me? But the moment I take them off, now I feel even more free. Like, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's like disconnecting, allowing like a heart energy to flow in or whatever, but I've stopped wearing necklaces. I just feel freaking free. And I can't even describe it. It's an energy. It's not like, I can't describe the words. Of course I feel sad and I feel all these things, but it's like, it's the most liberating feeling when you're able to stand in your authenticity and be so proud of that. And I think sometimes when we search all these things, like I was obsessed with makeup all my life. I dropped out of school to be a makeup artist, and I was obsessed with it from a very young age. My mom was a makeup artist. My auntie was a very good makeup artist for like movies, and she was she did like a lot of movies, and she won Oscars and like Grammys and all of these sort of things. And so I always looked up at her, being like, oh, I really want to be like that. So I had a huge influence with makeup from a very young age. And so I was obsessed and very dependent and reliant on makeup as well, as another form of like just feeling enough. And it's the most liberating feeling. And I love makeup still, but it's like, it's such a liberating feeling to be able to strip back and realize that who you were looking for was the person behind all of these things, behind all of these like things that we were trying to like cover up in the first place. And it's really beautiful. And I think that's a journey that all women are on, is like we get put into this world, and we're, you know, extremely sexualized from the word go, like, and we're taught to cover up, and we're told how to be. And I think when we take back our power, not from a sense of resentment or hate, but like out of pure love for ourselves, and being like, I want to feel the best I've ever felt, and I want to love myself. And that's what the feminine is. It's like, feminine is having baby, like literally our bodies are designed to have a baby, like to create life, to create earth, like to create life. It's absolutely crazy. Like I know we think about it, but like if you actually think about this, isn't it so crazy that our body is able to create teeth, like for another like it's able to create bones, like it's able to create bones, skin, teeth.
Yeah, I know,
hair.
it's absolutely
like I'm like,
amazing.
oh, baby, then I think, wait, babies have teeth. Our bodies can create teeth. Like that doesn't make sense to me. Like I just don't understand it. And so when we get it more into feminine, which the feminine is rising now, it was very suppressed. But the feminine is all
Yeah.
about looking after your body, looking after your, literally your physical vessel. And so I think it's important to balance
Mm.
the two energies, but I think it's so important as women, because I was very much suppressing that my entire life. And that was like the missing link in my life, like realizing that like my emotions are valid. You are not your emotions. You're allowed, like you have to feel your emotions to let them go. And I think that's one thing I did for most of my
Mm.
life was, if I had a sad emotion, I would be like, okay, I've got to journal this out, and then I'm going to go for a walk, and I'm going to do a podcast, and then I'm going to feel better. And it was like this just constantly trying to mask, and my body was literally telling me from the word go what was happening, and I was ignoring that and pushing it down, pushing it down, pushing it down. I didn't want to look at it. And now I'm realizing it was the biggest blessing, because literally your body that we are all given has all the abilities to heal itself. It is every sign it is giving you. Like you don't need anything to receive guidance or to understand the truth. Like your body is exceptionally wise, because it's all one.
Yeah.
It's like, I know, we're like the hip
Mm.
is where the trauma is stored, and the brain is here. Like the brain is the body is the brain. Like it's all one. It's literally all, like everything is connected. But it's like we have all the answers within.
Mm.
Everything we're searching for in this world and the material, you're going to find within. And I think it's also a journey where I encourage everyone. Everyone deserves to get everything they want. Like people deserve money. People deserve the life of their dreams. People deserve to have a beautiful home if they want, or an incredible family. Like they deserve all of that. And that's beautiful and that's amazing. And we have to go on that path to search these things, and to then to be able to get these things, and then be like, okay, now I'm ready to go within. Because if we say to people like, okay, you don't need anything, and you like, it's hard to say that to someone when someone's struggling to pay their bills, or they're doing all these things, and that's not what people want to hear, and that's not what I want to hear either. So I think the journey everyone's on is absolutely perfect. Like there's nothing you can do to go wrong on this path. Everything you do is for a divine purpose, and everything you're experiencing right now has a divine purpose, and it's leading you to where you need to go and help people on your mission. And that's the thing where like I used to get so caught up in like, okay, if I go into a negative vibration, like then I'm going onto the wrong timeline, and I'm going to attract negative things, and I'm not on the right path. And the truth is like we're literally always on the right path. There is nothing you can do to mess this up. Like nothing you can do. And I think there's
Mm.
something
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
beautiful in that, like trusting and surrendering and being like, yeah, like it takes all the weight and pressure off your shoulders. Because as women, if
Yeah.
like since we've started working, there's a lot more pressure on us to hold a lot of bags, to be beautiful, to also look for someone and find a family eventually
Mm.
when we do, and to have a bomb. Oh my god, I said the word bomb. I've never used that word. Like have an amazing career, and it's like so many hats. And I think
Yeah.
it's so important to
Yeah.
incorporate self love for yourself. Like it's so crazy to me how accustomed we are to how much we hate ourselves. Like, and we try everything to love ourselves and to do all
Mm.
these things to love ourselves or to give ourselves rewards, because our natural default is that we actually hate ourselves, that we're actually so cruel to ourselves, that we beat ourselves up
Mm.
all the time, that we're never good enough, that we don't deserve this, that we don't deserve that. And that's where people, I want to teach people is like, when you choose to love yourself, that's when you realize you deserve all these things. Not like I deserve these things because I'm not
Mm.
worthy and I need these to make me feel worthy. It's like you deserve these things because you are
Yeah.
worthy. And so it's so crazy, but yeah, we're in a society where people are really struggling. Like everyone is struggling, everyone's wearing a mask, and I think the more we're vocal and open about that, we're not like it's an incredible time to be alive. But the truth is like when we go on Instagram, like it is a mask for everyone. Like everyone's hiding behind this profile and
Mm.
this photo, and all of these sort of things, because I'm the one who like I'm experiencing that, and I've done that all my life. So it's like I'm not speaking from like looking at others. Like this is what I went through, like of just constantly
Mm.
feeling like I was hiding, that I
Yeah.
wasn't being myself, that I was trying to be something that I wasn't. And I think accepting that like we're literally all human, and every person in this world is so incredible and amazing in their own way, and like so beautiful. And we don't have to compete with each other. Like we're all amazing and encouraging another. And like that's the world, that's the way the world's actually going, is like 3D and 5D. 3D is all about how can I be better, because 3D is separation, because we're so attached to the physical world. 5D is literally unconditional love from the heart, and it's seeing everyone as you.
Yeah.
We're all connected,
Mm.
and through that energy, like the life's going to be amazing. The life is going to be amazing, because like everyone's just going to be more compassionate to another. We're going to be more empathetic to another. We're going to encourage another. Like we're turning into a universe now where we're choosing love over fear. And there's always, with love, there's always got to be a
Mm.
balance in this universe. That's just how quantum physics works. Like you need to have you to have the good, you have to have a complete polarity of that, which is the bad. And that's why we're aware of good emotions. Like the only reason we know what happiness is because we've felt the most pain in our entire lives. And so there's something so beautiful about that. And as long as we stand in the light and we exude that out and we help others, and it doesn't mean like suppressing and spiritually bypassing the pain, because we need to experience that to transmute it into light. The more we do that, the world is going to be an incredible place. And I know it's something that sounds kind of off, because like right now what's going on, it's difficult, it's scary, like for people, if we're watching media and we're watching news, and some people may call me extremely naive, and that's okay. But I do think that what's happening in this world is insane, and people are waking up more than ever. Like you guys, like we're all so young and like doing these things, like it's absolutely incredible. Like this wasn't a thing like 20 years ago. Like I don't use TikTok a lot, but like when I do, I look at like some of these really young kids who are like spiritual TikTokers, and I'm like, there has never been more babies waking up now. Like the world is like I don't know exactly how far you believe, but I believe like we chose to come here. We're souls. We've reincarnated many, many lifetimes. But I chose like there's more souls than ever waking up now. And we all chose to come here at this time. And the world right now is like the hot topic for everything, like the spiritual realm. Like the world is going through something we've never seen before in our entire lives. Like every person in the world has to stay inside with themselves. So before, we'd have our 9 to 5, we'd go get coffee in the morning, we'd be on our phones, we'd be going out to see friends, we'd get drunk on Friday and Saturday, be hungover on Sunday and watch Netflix and order Domino's. And it was just like, that was our life. And so for the first time, all of that has been stripped back, all the illusions, all the things that we thought were anchored into like safety and like that was what we had, all of that's been stripped away. And so now it's a time where people are like, who the hell am I? What do I want to do? Like people are questioning things immensely, and it's a scary time because people are like, everything I thought was real isn't real to them, or like their paradigms are crumbling. And it's scary because the ego is dissolving, because it's scary for the ego, but most of the world's the ego is really toning down, and it's scary for people because it's terrifying to let go of your ego. Like I'm still not there. It's terrifying because it's all you've known. It was quote unquote the fact, like all your life, like, no, this is the way it should be. I should have been this way. And the whole world is letting go of it. And on the other side of this, it's going to be beautiful. Life is going to be incredible. And I really want to make that clear, like to give people hope of some sort. Like I just know the world, it's going to be so much more compassionate, because we all we all went through the exact same experience. Like, of course, if someone's cheated on and things like this, but those experiences are always different. No, like this is the first one where like every person in the world has been told to put on a mask, cover their face, and stay inside. Like every single person in the world has gone through this, and we're all struggling in our own way in that same form. And I think it's an exciting time, and it's obviously a very sad time with what's going on in the world, but there has to be polarity with everything. But I do think there is so much light in the future, and we don't even know what's coming. So yeah.
Oh my God. Wow. So much
Yes,
juice
so
there. I
interesting.
relate to a lot of what you said, though, especially about the fake tan thing. I am not at the point where I can give it up. But when we were listening...
let me just say, the only reason I'm able to quit it is because I'm naturally tan now. So I understand your pain. And I understand
I know.
because I was so pale and porcelain,
So
and
deep in us.
it's terrifying. Like I was like, no. So don't worry as well. Like everything in own divine timing.
No.
Like a year ago when I was in my bed, I remember like I was literally, I just put tan on. I got extensions. I felt like a Barbie. And then I remember I meditated for a really long time. And I just remember seeing that as a truth. Like they gave me the download and I was like, no, like I am not looking at that. Like I shoved it away. I refused. It was like, no, like God, no. Like that's the only thing that makes me feel hot. Like I'm not giving that up. Like, so I get that completely. And I have compassion for you. And I don't think people understand unless they are tan, like they wear tan, because it's like, it's a whole world in itself.
Yeah, it literally is. Because I've been wearing it since I was at school. Probably when I was like 13, I started to put it on. And you start off with like the really cheap tan, you know, like St. Moritz or whatever it was. Like, and you just cover yourself in that.
Bad day.
And then you evolve. And then my mum is like really into like putting natural things on your body. She's always been like, what is this tan you're putting on? Yeah, and she said like about how your skin is the biggest organ, and she was like, you're literally absorbing loads of shit basically from through like what are you doing? And I was always like, no, leave me alone. I
don't wanna
can't
hear
it. Either. But but I like wore quite really dark tan for ages as well, and then I've transitioned more to a slightly more natural product, but still I'm not ready to give it up. But when you were like talking about it in your podcast, I was like, so true. And what you were saying about how like if someone invited you out for a date, or someone spontaneously I said, oh come let's go out, whatever, you'd be like, no, you haven't got the tan on, you won't let yourself live. I'm the exact same.
No, like no one is seeing me without tan.
Fine.
Like I would like going over, and I know, I think it's the same with you guys. Like I don't know, when you're in your home country, you're always just alert and a bit fearful of seeing people. Like it's just, and whenever I run to the store, if I didn't have tan, I just feel ugly and I'd be hiding myself. And like, and it's only since I've moved here, and that's where I've realized, like, I actually realized how much, especially the Irish people and the English people, like the girls, like I feel like we need so much love right now. Like because we all feel so dependent on things to make, because we put all our worthiness in our looks. And the reason I'm saying that is because I do, and I've done that all my life. Like my looks was everything to me. So I'm saying that from me, not like a blaming of others. Like it was purely me. And it's only since I've come here, the girls here wear no makeup and they don't have a hair straightener. They literally just are free. And so when I came here, I was like, wait, the whole world isn't like that. Like the whole world doesn't, wake up every day and put makeup on and tan and perfume and perfect outfits. And I was like, what? Like, this is really freeing. I really like this. And so I started getting into it. Now I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. And that's why I like to talk about this, because I know a lot of my listeners are from Ireland and England, America and stuff like that. And I think the more I see the life people are living here, the more I really want to get that into other countries, and to get people, especially women, to feel free in their own way, to feel beautiful in their own way, and not be dependent on this thing. Because fake tan was something that, like, it was actually owning me more than anything. And it's so crazy, because if someone who doesn't wear tan, you'd hear this and you'd be like, oh, it's nothing. But it really, like, it controlled my life more than I wouldn't allow myself to go on the sea when on like any holidays, like all my holidays, like all since I was a teenager, I refused to go on the sea. I'd get into the pool for 5 minutes, I'd run out, I'd always just be, it was just this, it was crazy. But also understand it's just like planting a seed. Like when the time is right, you might do it, and it's a journey. It's not something that you need to pressure on, because if you're doing it out of like wanting to quit now, out of fear, it's like that there's no benefit of that, because you're just more afraid of being like, this is bad for me. Like you have to do it from like, okay, I'm ready now, and there's no rush with any of these things. Like quitting perfume, like I'm looking at a perfume bottle right now. I bought like this really beautiful perfume like when I moved here, and I'm like, I'm not ready to throw that out. Like I'm gonna leave it there, because I don't. No, I've started I've started making my own perfume. Like that's so crazy to hear. Like makes me sound so like woo-woo, but like yeah, it's freeing. And like I can't wait for like Irish and English and like those sort of companies where because I'm pretty sure Ireland was like the largest, or Ireland and England were the largest checkout like online purchasers in all of the world, or Europe, I think. Like check like of cosmetics. So like we all buy the most amount of cosmetics in the entire world. And actually no, definitely not. I think European or whatever. But that's why I'm excited to like, I'm like, okay, this is something that really needs to be shared with these sort of women, because I am that woman who's experiencing it. And it's like it can control us instead of us allowing it to be a pleasure. It's dominating who we are, and we're so dependent and reliant, and that's okay. And it's beautiful, because we're just all like afraid, we're all afraid to be vulnerable. And I think that's like there's something so beautiful and like innocent about that, yeah
for sure. That reminds me, because I was actually thinking about this the other day, because I feel like it is, I think, especially like growing up in Ireland and England, you can like get the idea of like this like very surface level self-love. So I remember like someone said to me the other day, like we were talking about like pamper nights and stuff, and then like I was like fully like deep in it, like thinking really deeply into it. I was thinking like pamper nights and like doing your tan and doing your hair and everything like that, is that actually coming from a place of love or fear?
But we all on your mask,
and we all think it's love, but it's not. It's like a really surface level love. But I feel like so many people don't realize that. That's why I like talking about this now. I think it's so interesting. Like so many people will be listening thinking, oh my God, I've never even thought of it like that.
Yeah.
Like it's literally raising that
That's
consciousness.
so
Makes me
refreshing
well
you said that,
excited.
because I used to think that all the time as well. Like, oh, I'm having a pamper night. I'm plucking my eyebrows, I'm tinting my eyebrows, I'm shaving my face with these like new razors that are like now a thing. You know, like all the peach fuzz off your face. Like that hair is there for a reason, and you can't even see it. I don't even know why I used it. Then you put your tan on and you have to shave your entire body, and then you're like painful the next day, and like you have to put tan on from top to bottom, but then you're just lying in bed uncomfortable being like dry, and then you're like,
because
oh,
you're
and you feel
marinated
gross,
in.
and it's like, is that self-love? Like, no, it's like preparing the shield to protect your heart from pain. It's like this little mask we're wearing, like this little backpack the kid puts on and walks to school. It's like we have this like baggage. That's such a good point. And I think it is something, but it's also like, it's also so easy. It's so like, this is the thing, because I'm so aware, because I self-sabotaged so much, and I know everyone else does. And I just have to say, this is like, anyone listening, the last thing I want you to do is to be mean to yourself for doing these things, because this is what I would do. I'd listen to a podcast like this if I heard this, and I'd go, oh, that's another reason something's really wrong with you, because you're so dependent on these things, Like, you're a failure because you're so dependent on these things. Like, you go even harsher on yourself because you're in this. Like, it's not something to be cruel to yourself about. If anything, just be so loving to yourself that like, oh wow, isn't that really interesting? I've learned that. But I think it's very hard. It's like, for every girl, it's so hard not to be that way, because like with the new world, with like Tinder and all these dating apps, it's like everything is the material, everything is the way you look, everything is the 3D. There's so much depth that is lacking, and so it's so disposable. Like next, like throwing away these people that like could be the most incredible humans you've ever met, who've gone through tragedies and experiences. And it's like, it's so easy not to be that way, because we're so on the looks. And it's like with Instagram, there's so much options. And this is what the ego thinks, is like, there is so much options, but the truth is like, there's not. Like, every person has their flaws, and we have to accept that. But we constantly think like there's going to be that perfect person, which there is, true love, like, of course. But like, we think like, oh, it's still like, see something wrong next, because there's so much options. It's like, it's so easy not to do that. So it's like, not being hard on yourself. Like, right now is like, the life is really difficult, like, to live in a world, but like right now is extremely difficult. Like, extremely difficult. Like, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, like, comparison. They're better than me. Like, 24/7 we're given this. And like, so it's like, I say to people, like, give yourself some bloody credit. Like, it's such a hard time right now. Like, of course, our grandparents and they all experience things. Like, every timeline has such tragedies, like the wars and all of these certain things, but pain is pain at the end of the day. And like, we just experience it in different forms. So like, I saw this quote, and it was like, just because someone's drowning like 10 meters down and one person's drowning 1 meter down doesn't mean that they're drowning more. Like, you're both drowning. And it's like, I'm pretty sure a girl who survived, I can't pronounce it, Auschwitz, like she survived it. She wrote a book, and she said, and she's like obligated to say this because she experienced one of the most painful things a human can go through. She said that it's no different from a breakup or feeling sad. Like, she said she realized that pain is pain. And I was like, wow, you're like, she said something, she used a crazy example, like breaking your car is the exact same as I can't pronounce it. And I was like, what? Like, and she's able to say that because she experienced it. And made me realize pain is pain, suffering is suffering at the end of the day. So although the tragedies and everything were difficult then, they're difficult in different forms. And that's the way God or the universe created things. Is like, the emotions are disguised through different forms and different ways of being, because everything is playing itself out as the one in like these illusions. Like, so it is a difficult time. It's an extremely difficult time to be. So like, we should be more proud of ourselves. And that just goes back to being more loving to ourselves, because what's going on right now, it is hard. It's like, I'll be the first one to say, like, life is so freaking difficult, especially on a spiritual path. It's extremely difficult because it's like this mind mess, because you're so aware. Like, you used to do things like as a robot, like you weren't aware of things, and you're like, oh, Netflix, yeah, like alcohol, like, yeah, like, oh, this is so fun. And then you go through a spiritual awakening and you're able to do all these things, but you're so bloody aware. It's the biggest mind trip of your life, because you're like, okay, I'm doing these things, but I'm too aware. And it's like you're lying to yourself, and it's so difficult. So just honor yourself. Like if you're going through this, like damn, like you're a strong person and like you're a strong soul and like we're all going to get through this. But I think the first step to is being honest with people and like being honest, like okay, and going online and being like, you know what, I felt really depressed and or I felt really sad because when I got into like the thought leader space, I don't like that word, but like when I got into that space and I started selling courses, I was like, okay, I'm the how-to girl. I'm meant to have all the answers. I cannot share any vulnerability or I cannot share that I'm going through a bad time because then people won't look at me as someone to be resourceful from or to be able to get answers from someone because I put this so much pressure on myself that a thought leader has to have it all figured out. And that's what I see a lot of like YouTubers, spiritual people, is they put on these things that everything's fine, everything's perfect. And I feel like it's doing people more of a disservice because people are trying to be this perfect thing when the spiritual path is the most messiest thing you're ever going to go through in your life. It is not this linear perfection thing. It's like it's so messy. And I think the sooner we're honest with people and we understand that like when we're putting out these podcasts or these YouTube videos, like they're humans at the end of the day. Like they're humans just like us listening to these. And we have to speak to them to the heart and not, you know, for the wrong intentions. And I think that takes discernment. And I think that's what's really going to change the world. And people are doing that and people are stepping up and it's all going according to plan. And yeah, I think it's an interesting time for sure.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I think it's the people, the like spiritual thought leaders, whatever, who I resonate most with are the ones that show themselves when they're like, you know, loving life, everything's great, feeling amazing, and when they show themselves when they're not, because then you and yourself, because part of the problem as well with people feeling sad and stuff is then they
Which is
feel bad for
crazy.
feeling sad in the first place. Like they have these, yeah, they have these like painful emotions, and then they throw a load of shame and guilt on top of it. When actually, like you said, we're not our emotions, and the feminine is flow. It's letting yourself feel all of it, and just moving through it, and it's fine. And like, but yeah, so when people, the thought leaders, can step up and say, you know, just be open about that, then it makes other people feel that they can do that with themselves, which is incredibly healing. And like you said, like we're all just humans at the end of the day. And what you were saying about like being aware, so you're doing all this stuff when you're being aware, we literally like, you know, just because we're humans, we're all having a human experience, we're on the planet, we're doing the human life, and we like do things and we text each other like, well, I know why I'm doing this, and what's like the subconscious thing behind it, what traumas triggered this behavior, and I'm like, I hate being this aware.
Honestly,
sometimes
it's exhausting.
Honestly, I think it's actually exhausting sometimes. It is like, yeah, you'll be like in a conversation with someone and it's like you're there, but then sometimes you're so aware of just other things, or maybe you're aware like, oh, am I doing this for the right reasons? And sometimes literally I'll be saying, it's literally exhausting being this aware.
Yeah, literally.
But you know what I mean? Like, obviously it's journey, but it is.
Absolutely.
No one talks about
exhausted.
No, they don't.
Like absolutely exhausted. Like I'll get up and I'm like, oh geez, I'm so tired. And I'll like do yoga and like record one YouTube video and I go, oh Jesus, so like exhausted. And especially spiritual people, we're so empathic and we can feel energies. Like I did a relationships retreat last week for 4 days and I had to recover for 4 days by myself. I was a mess. Just so exhausted. But understand also, like as spiritual people, we are actually we are receiving so much energy from the collective because we chose to be a light worker, which is a lighthouse. So we are here, sadly but goodly, to transmute these energies. So we have to feel them for other people. So I know this is going to sound really woo-woo for some people and like very esoteric, but it's like, this is so normal to me. But like the collective energy that's going on in the world right now, you feel that. Like we're not, and this is the thing, is like people try and dismiss like the natural laws. Like energy is a real thing. Like we're literally all energy. And we try and dismiss it that like, okay, we're gonna be happy all the time if we do this. The truth is like the world is constantly shape shifting its energy into different forms. And the moon affects us. Like we're literally, I don't know what it's like, we're 60% water, and the moon is what affects like the wind and like the sea. It's literally the moon affects us too. And as women, we have cycles. So we're going to go through these emotional roller coasters every 28 days. Like when I got my period, I am like the most emotional person you ever meet. And I'm like looking at looking at the sky, listening to depressing music and being like, oh, like it's like, you know, so it's like we also are going to feel all these energies, and that's something to understand as well. It's like most of the time, the things you're dealing with aren't even your own. And most of the time, these energies aren't even a part of you. Like, I don't know if you hang around with certain people and this doesn't make people bad. Like, everyone has negative thoughts. So it's like you can hang around people and then come home and you're so mean to yourself. It doesn't mean that person's a bad person. It actually could mean like they're still a soulmate, they're a loved one, but they have these thoughts about themselves, and you've taken on their energy and you receive those thoughts as well. So I
Yeah.
always talk about this.
Yeah.
I talk about this a lot in soul school, but like thoughts our thoughts, this is what I like to see them as, like thought forms. They go from mind to mind. Like the more deep and painful the thought you have that is killing you and crushing you, the more universal it is, meaning every person has that exact thought. Like we're not as unique as we think, even though we're so unique. Like if you, I don't know if you guys watch TikTok at all, like you ever see like things people say like, oh, after you watch a movie, you look up all the characters and you see who they're dating and you see what they look like outside of life and what age they are. Like these little things that we think are like so unique, like every person does them. Like we're not different, but we are all unique. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like we're all
Yeah,
literally
yeah,
human
yeah.
beings. Like there's not actually difference
Yeah.
between us all. And I think when we see like we're all equal, we're all one. But yeah, no, the energy is a real thing, but it's exhausting. The spiritual path is exhausting. So it's very important to rest yourself. And that's like it's very important. But understand, like we chose this, and like it's all for good reason. At the end of the day, this is just a
Yeah.
game. Like it's not to be taken too seriously. And I think that's something I got really into. I took everything really seriously, the spiritual world. But like we're like, this is
Yeah.
already a game. This is only a little blip in our whole evolution. We're just walking around in these avatars. I love using that word avatar because it just makes me feel like oh, you guys need to try this. So there's this thing which you can do, which you stare into someone's eye. I don't know if you've ever done it. It's like an intimacy challenge. And so I met a guy here and we did it, and you basically stare into one of their eyes for like 10 minutes and you're not allowed to talk. And so he was very spiritual. So like he was like, oh, I'll tell you.
Yes.
Yeah. So
We're gonna
basically the
do
thing
this
about it
later to
is
each
your
other.
mind instantly tries to make some like a joke or try to say something to make it less awkward. So I was like, this is so funny. And he was like, yeah, he was like, yeah, that's your ego. You're just uncomfortable, Ella. And I was like, oh God. So I did it. And then I went to a relationships retreat and we also did it. And it's so crazy when you look into someone's eye for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. What happened was I started looking at this guy's face and I was looking into his eye. And at first I was like just looking, and the deeper you look into his eye, I started to feel and see all his pain, all the things he had gone through in his life. Maybe his parents giving out to him. Like I felt it and I could see the vision in his eye. It was absolutely crazy. But I saw all the pain he was holding on to. Because when we put these bright smiles on, we're like, everything's fine. When you really look into someone's eye, you can see what's up, and like that's okay. And like people are suffering, everyone's suffering, that's the truth. But everyone's also happy. Like it's not like the world's gloomy. It's like it's just a natural form of life that we've neglected and ignored and pretended like it's not there. In every Hollywood movie, like no one, like there's like a 10-minute depressing scene like 20 minutes before the end, and then the end's always a happy ending, right? Like it's always just the way like we're conditioned to believe. But I started looking at this guy's eye and I started to feel all his pain. And then what happens is when you stare at someone so long, their face is going to deform. So he started turning into different faces. And then I saw every face in the world, like as a collective, like shape shifting in his face. Then he turned into Jesus. I'm not kidding. I was looking at this guy and I was like, he is a God. Like he is God. Like I felt like I was looking into the entire universe through his eye. I was looking at him. I was like, this guy is God, meaning like we're all God. Like we're all from source consciousness. We are all literally divine beings. And I was looking in the eye. I was like,
Yeah.
he's God. Then he turned into a lizard. I'm not kidding. When you look at their face, they're going to turn into animals. They're going to turn into different people. And then what happened was his eye his whole face went black. And it was like the world is a mirror. That's just the download I got. It was like everything is an eye looking itself out in a different form. Like everything's an eye. Like when we look at something, everything is a mirror. Everything we look at is a mirror. Our phone is a mirror. Our friends are mirrors. Everything in this world is a mirror playing itself out as you. And yeah, then I started to do it to myself in the mirror. That's when it started to get really freaky, where my eyes started to like twitch a little bit, and I started to look at myself being like, oh my God, I'm a robot. Like this isn't my body. Because like my soul was really awakening, and I was like, this is just an avatar. Like I feel like I'm a robot. Like I was looking at myself and being like, oh my God, there is something behind all of this. So you guys or anyone listening, if you have someone to look at the eye for like 10 minutes, you will experience something more spiritual than like 20 years of meditation. It's absolutely insane. And then if you do it to yourself in the mirror, it's very incredible because you get very vulnerable and honest with yourself, and you crack everything open. So you guys should really try it. Like people, their face will start to deform into different things. It's absolutely insane. Yeah.
I am so glad you mentioned that, because I actually like just generally think this is really interesting, but it's very crazy. You know, like you know, like what I was saying to you about the whole drinking thing.
Yeah.
So like I've like always had like, you know, like just kind of a
Yeah.
normal relationship with like, alcohol, what we think is normal, like living here. And then recently I've been like trying to change it. And now, because this happened the other night, but I haven't even told you yet because I've seen you. But I've done this multiple times, right? If I'm drunk now, which is rarely,
Yeah.
I can feel spirits and stuff around me. And literally the other night, I was literally with my friends, I'm not joking, and I wasn't even that drunk at all. And I was talking to this guy, and his face just kept changing into loads of different people.
Yeah.
And it happens also, it's happened to me multiple times, like with my friends.
Yeah.
But I've like never heard anyone speak about that. I feel like my lips are trembling. This is really weird. My lips are trembling speaking about this.
Yeah, because it's really been a big thing for you, like,
this is
for you
crazy.
figuring out this alcohol thing.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Explain about Estelle and how she told you that you speak spirits.
Yeah, so basically I realised, I started seeing, I don't know why my lips are trembling. This is really weird. I don't know why I was trembling. I was just feel a bit vulnerable. But no, you know how I said to you, I actually messaged you saying I was seeing that energy healer. Yeah. Well, I started seeing her, and then after like my first session, it happened like after that. Like I was having drinks with my friends, wasn't even that drunk.
You're seeing Aveen.
No, Estelle.
Oh,
Estelle
sorry.
Bingham.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah, and then I did it that night where I felt like it's like I feel this presence of loads of people around me, and I feel like there's loads of people there. But I can't, but it's only happened when I'm drunk, which is like the weird thing. But then I mentioned it to her the week after, because I've always done it since I started drinking. I've always like done it just on odd occasions, but I never ever thought anything of it. Like my friend used to say, like, it's really weird. Why are you talking to someone like in the corner of the room? And I'd be like, I'm talking to someone. Yeah, it's really weird. And then basically I mentioned it to her, and she was like, yeah, you are. It's because like obviously when you're drinking, you're letting down like that vulnerable side, and like the part of you that doesn't believe in it, you're letting that go, and then you're letting the spirits like speak to you. But yeah, literally did it on like Saturday night, and because when you said that, then the face starts changing. I was like, whoa, because that is exactly what happened. His face just kept changing into all these different people, and you can literally message him asking. I was going, your face keeps changing into different people, and he was literally like, what? He was like, are you mad? It was so weird. Yeah,
that's amazing. First,
I didn't know that was a thing though.
No, that's so weird you say that, because this happened to me like a month ago, and I actually only remember this now because I was drunk. I was on a date with this guy, and I was looking at him, and his face deformed into every person I'd ever dated, like at lightning speed. So I was looking at him, and I was about to say the name, like his face was turning into every guy I dated, like really fast. And I was like, who even am I dating right now? Like who's it? Like it was really weird. So that's insane that you had the same experience.
That is so weird. Honestly, it's the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. That,
but it really shows like
I don't know.
We're all just one wearing cloaks. Like everything is connected. Like this water bottle, like there's no separation from this. But yeah, like things like this will naturally happen the more you get into your spiritual journey. Like your psychic abilities like will be crazy. Like you'll start to see auras, you'll start to see energy. Like I actually saw an angel for the first time like a month ago, and it was the craziest experience I'd ever seen. It was like this white beam of light came into my room. I was absolutely terrified, but like I knew it was like safe. But another thing that started happening to me is my clairvoyance has become very clear, like where I receive visions and then they happen. But a thing that keeps happening to me is I have conversations with people, and I'm able to predict what they say before they say it. So like very random things, like I met a girl the other day, and she's like, oh, I'm studying, and and the voice in my head was like, oh, she's studying psychology, Ella. And then the girl was like, yeah, I'm studying psychology. And then I was like talking to this guy, and he was like, oh, like I can't remember something. And I was like, oh yeah, he went surfing in Peru. And then he was like, yeah, I went surfing in Peru. It was the best day of my life. And I was like all of these like little random facts just keep being planted in my head right before they say it. And I'm like, what? but that's when you get into spirituality, you're actually able to read people's thoughts, like not like like you would never be allowed to do it like manipulatively or like in a way to like manipulate someone, or like it's out of pure like
Yeah.
love, but it's just
Yeah.
showing how like we're we're so much more magical than we think. We're literally
Yeah.
fairies.
Yeah.
And when we strip back like the perfume or the whatever, all of those holistic things, because that's what helps you ascend, and that's what I've realized, that's why it ties in with all this stuff. The sooner we let go of all these things, because all of these dense things that are in the matrix are what stop us from ascending. So the shoes, certain materials in clothes, the fluoride in your toothpaste is literally what blocks your pineal gland. It literally will block off any psychic abilities. All of these things are so dense in this world that pull us down. Like all of these things, when we let go, our soul is able to ascend. So when we drop all of these things, or we let go of these things, we allow, because our heart knows. Because the truth is, someone could wear fake tan and their soul could still ascend because it's fine for their body. My skin just has always been extremely sensitive. So it's like every soul is different and every soul can ascend a different way. So it's like there's no right or wrong with everything. And this is something that I got so stuck on when I got in spirituality, especially alcohol. Okay, I read a book on alcohol and I quit alcohol. And then I started listening to every spiritual thought leader, and they were like, I just wanted to know. I was like, is alcohol good or bad? Yes or no? Like, I just wanted a concrete answer. And the truth was, alcohol really helped me at certain times. Right now, I'm not into it, but I may again. There's no right or wrong. Same with like weed. I don't know if you guys smoke weed or marijuana. Like, I used like there could be so much thought leaders that say no, it's wrong, it lowers your vibe, but the truth is like everything has a divine purpose at a divine time. And I think that's getting out of the linear thinking of good and bad, yes or no. It's like accepting what is and allowing things to come in with no judgment. And that's when
Yeah.
you're really able to allow yourself to get free, because you're not constricted with rules anymore.
Yeah.
And you're not like, oh, this is bad, this is good. Like, don't detach. Like, if you like to drink alcohol and like you're having fun, like allow yourself to do that if your heart's telling you to. Everyone's different, and you know what I mean? So it's like, I think, but yeah, it's very interesting when you do allow your soul to ascend, and you will get naturally things like this. You'll start to receive clairaudience, clairsentience. Another thing I'm able to activate is I can ask something and my body will vibrate if it's a yes, like if it's the truth, and it won't vibrate if it's a no. So I'll do that all the time. My whole body will vibrate. So that's like, I think it's clairsentience. That's when you feel vibration. And clairaudience, or it's the other way around, you can see into the future. So I receive visions all the time. Like, this is going to sound really creepy. I already know how I'm going to be proposed to. Like, I know where I'm going to be
Wow.
proposed to.
I love
Like,
that.
I'm so certain. But you receive like visions all the time. And that all happens when you start to let go of the dense things that are weighing you down. And the freer you
Yeah.
become, the
Yeah.
more you allow your soul to be free, because it wants to feel safe to be able to be ascended, because we're always ascending. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Wow.
gosh. Wow.
Crazy.
I just don't even know
It
where
is.
to.
It sounds so crazy, doesn't it? It's like it goes so beyond anything the ego can conceptualize as
Yeah.
true. Like, it
Yeah.
goes
Yeah.
so beyond what we've thought, what sounds crazy, what doesn't. And the truth is, and it's something that I've feared for so long, is the deeper you get into this, the more crazy you're going to sound to people, and the more you're going to have literally nothing in common with others. But then that comes back to unconditional love and not getting into the spiritual ego of like, oh, I'm so spiritual, like these people do not get me. Like, no, like everyone is on their own path, everyone's incredible in their own way. And that's the most freeing, because I got so into this isolation space of like, oh, I'm spiritual, no one gets me. And I enclosed myself. And now if I hang out with people, even if they literally don't even want to know about spirituality or meditation, I see them as like incredible people, because
Yeah.
that's just who they are, and they're on
Yeah.
their own journey and they're learning. And I think that's really freeing in the spiritual space, is also just adapting that belief, because it can be very easy to isolate when you're like, nobody gets me, because it
Yeah.
is a very lonely path.
Yeah.
Essentially, even though we're never alone.
Yeah. 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 Oh
Yeah.
my
My
god.
mind is like absolutely boggled, but like in a very, very good way. Literally, I was just like looking at you then.
Just going to take a quick ad break to let you guys know about the people that make this incredible conversation possible. Our sponsor, BetterHelp. That's help, HELP, and BetterHelp are a professional, secure online counselling service who will set you up with the therapist in under 48 hours of you signing up to their website.
Yeah, and they also have a huge range of facilities. So whatever you feel like you need the help or the support for, they can find the right therapist for you. And even if you are matched with a therapist and you think, I'm actually not vibing with this therapist, I actually want something different, you can change for free until you're happy.
Yes, and the other amazing thing about BetterHelp is that it's all done online, so you don't need to go anywhere to access therapy from a professional licensed counselor. You can literally get it from the comfort of your own home and however you feel comfortable to communicate with your therapist, because we're all different. Some people are happy with video calls or just phone calls, and some people just want to type in a chat box or on emails. So however you want to communicate, they will work around you, and you don't even need to leave your house. You don't even need to have a computer. There's an app on your phone. It's so easy. They just make therapy really accessible for everyone.
Yeah, and one of the best things about it is that it's way more affordable than your traditional offline counseling. Because I feel like if everybody could go and get therapy without the expense, like probably everybody would.
Yeah.
So to actually have that platform where it is at a cheaper price and done online is just really incredible.
Yeah, so BetterHelp will cost you around £50 a week, but with our discount, it's going to cost you £40 a week. So if you want to access this discount and get 10% off your first month of therapy, all you need to do is go to the website link, betterhelp.com/finding your feet. That's betterhelp.com/find your feet. We've left the link in the show notes, so you can just click through there and really easily get going. But there's no shame in therapy. We literally just see it as like taking your mind to the gym, getting a personal trainer of the mind. It's so important. It's life-changing, and we've done it so many times, and we're so glad that to our past selves for making that choice, because it paid off then and it pays off now and will pay off in the future, because the clicks and the healing you get from therapy is like nothing else. So if you want to be brave, take your mental health to a new level, then head to betterhelp.com/find your feet to start your therapy journey.
But now let's get back into this incredible episode. But no, I would love to just speak a little bit more as well about, because you've been speaking a lot about your divine feminine awakening.
Oh, yes.
Like further into that, because I just think that is so interesting. Like the different, you're speaking before about the idea of like embodiment. Because I feel like before the last time we spoke, we were all like, I feel like we talked quite a lot about the masculine, about like,
Oh,
like the
God,
law of attraction, everything like that. And like your latest videos have been so interesting when you've been speaking about embodiment and the feminine. So I would love to know what you've been doing to awaken that and how that's like caused shifts within your life.
Yeah. I give full credit to this island because of course it was a whole journey in unraveling this, because I didn't I was so afraid to I think in especially in Ireland and England, we're very conditioned to suppress our sexuality, and it's very shamed upon, like so much guilt, so much shame. Like if you look into Christianity, like
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy
yeah,
for it.
how you control a mass is you keep them in shame and guilt, because then they're easy to
Yeah.
manipulate, they're easy to be. So like if we did something wrong, we'd have to go to the priest and have a confession,
I know
and then they'd
it's
say have
crazy when you
5
think
Hail
about it. It's
Marys.
mental.
Yeah, I
Mental.
met this like spiritual guy here, and he looked at me and he went, Ella, do you really think it's a loving, like I don't want to deem any religion again,
No,
like,
yeah,
but he
yeah.
was like, do you think it's loving that the 10 commandments start with do not, like you're not allowed to do this, like every 10, like the commandments are like do not do this or you will go to hell. And it's like all this stuff, and we're very suppressed of like our femininity, and like when we start to develop as a woman, we're cover up, or men can't control
Yes.
themselves, or like we have to
Yeah.
hide ourselves, and that's understandable with biology, but it's like we're told to cage, hide, but at the same time we're so exploited and so exposed, so it's like we don't know what to do, like we're running around like headless chickens. And so I've always been ashamed of my body. I've never felt free. I'd only dance if I was really drunk. It was something I was mortified about. And if someone recorded me dancing, I'd be like, delete that. Like, I don't want that anywhere. Like, it's just, we never felt free. And so since coming here, I think the thing was the influence of everyone else being free. Like if you were to do yoga on the beach in like Ireland or England, people would be staring, like they'd be looking, even though it's such a normal thing, people would pass a judgment or something. But here, literally, people, it's just like anyone's allowed to do anything. People are doing yoga on the beach all the time, breath work. People are naked on the beach. Like people don't care. And so I think that was a huge thing, was my environment. So I was able to do that for myself. But every morning I wake up and I do some Reiki. So I usually do my hands like this. Like I warm up energy in my hands and I just press it on my body. Something that everyone can do, which is something that I'm only getting into, is I'm able to work with my energy in my body at a certain part of my body. So I could put it on my left shoulder and I'll receive a memory of when I was a 3-year-old and something happened. So I'm able to bring awareness to trauma in every portion of my body. So you guys should try it. Like if you go meditate, they'll go left knee. and then you put it, and then you'll remember a moment where your mom forgot to collect you from school and now you have abandonment issues. It's fascinating how wise the body is. Like all the answers lie in the body. And this is the thing with everything online, is like we're so focused on other people's advice and everyone else's thoughts and how everyone else is doing it. But the body, literally, we hold all the answers. Like how crazy is that we can put our hand on a certain part of our body and receive all the memories, the trauma. Like the body is telling us things and we have to listen, and that's the feminine. It's like the body is everything. And so it's the embodiment. So I do that, and then I do yoga. Incredible. Yoga is actually, Osho always said this, I can't remember, my brother told me this, but 3 ways you can reach enlightenment are meditation, breathwork, and yoga. Yoga is one of the most amazing things you can do, because it's creating, yoga means union, by the way. It creates union because you're breathing into every muscle. You're creating that mind body connection, which we're so disconnected from as women. Like we're always shown you have to give pleasure, you're not allowed to receive pleasure. And so, because that's a whole other topic, but yeah, so we go out our whole life not feeling, again, putting fake tan on, putting these things on, because even though fake tan is so uncomfortable, it feels gross, or certain things like that. We've become so disconnected from what feels good, to what society told us. So like wearing the bras, wearing the things like this, like just not allowing yourselves to be free, because that's what feels good, right? Like it feels good to take off your bra. It feels good to be free and to get into the ocean and to just let your hair wet. Like it's so freeing, right?
Yeah.
And so it's getting back into what makes you feel good, not what you think you should be feeling, not what you think should be good. Like, oh, I'm going to the gym because I'm supposed to. No, like what literally makes your body like so happy. So yoga has been absolutely incredible for me. And then dancing. I am obsessed with dancing. And if you're fearful of what people think, like just dance in your room. And the most important thing, and this is really interesting, is like don't use a mirror. Because when we look at ourselves in the mirror, we're so used to judging ourselves and, oh, you look so stupid, or like, oh my God, so embarrassing. Look at you. Like, who do you think you're hot? Like, or whatever. Like our minds are just like that. So when you get rid of the mirror and you just shut your eyes and allow your body to move, your body will create dances that you didn't even know. Like your body has a whole life of its own. So I do that. I also bought like a hula hoop, and I do hula hooping. That's an incredible way for your hips. Anything with the hips, because that's where the trauma is stored. That's where, the womb is. Like us women, we need to connect to our hips more, our sacral chakra. Like even drinking or eating, like this is like, I get freshly squeezed orange juice every day. I've been eating so much raw foods that are colored to the red and the orange, the sacral and the root chakra. That's the only reason I one of the main reasons I think I've been awakening to this, because I've been eating so much orange foods, because the sacral chakra is very feminine. No, not that. Well, yeah, it is. It's very sensual, the energy. Dancing. People, if I get massages once a week, something I never used to get, and now I'm like, they're the most incredible things for you. You're allowing yourself to receive pleasure. You're releasing knots in your body. You're allowing your body to awaken. But ways you can enhance it are yoga, dancing of any form. Just put music on. Don't care what you look like. Like no one's watching and no one cares. Because for me, I remember like even when no one's in my room, my phone is off, the camera is covered. I'd put a towel over, or like I'd be like, oh, someone's watching, but it's the ego that's watching. The ego is the one that's being mean. So you have to shut that off. Meditation, breath work. I did a breath work course here. There's like, it's so amazing. I live in this like this villa, and there's like, it's the most spiritual little neighborhood of villas, and every person I'm working with over here, like at I work with an aura reader, like a healer, a yoga teacher, a massage. They all live in the villas. So like I just walk outside and go like 2 doors down, and it's amazing. And she's like, there's like a Hawaiian massage, and it's like a certain spiritual Reiki ritual. But like I do all of these things that instead of consuming and all of these things, I'm sitting back and I'm like, what do I feel? And those are really incredible ways. So it's like breath work, meditation, dancing. Dancing is huge. I actually think that's the most important one. And it's like, that's another form of shadow work, because your body expresses itself through movement. Yoga, I'm obsessed with. Like, oh my God, yes, please. It is amazing. I'm trying to think of others, like baths, like a bath where you soak in like oils, and like incense are a beautiful way of enhancing that. Like anything that's like receptivity of receiving pleasure. So like enjoying your food, enjoying a movie. Like if you want to watch a movie, really enjoy it. Don't be like, oh God, I shouldn't be watching this because it's really bad for my subconscious because it's not spiritual. And like, no, like just sit back and be like, oh, I'm allowing myself to rest. I'm allowing myself to laugh. Like do everything from the receptive aspect of like just enjoying it.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. So femininity can shapeshift into all different forms, but it's all about receiving that energy from something else. So it is dependent on the outside, I guess, and it's dependent on your body, but it's like our bodies are telling us things and we have to listen to them. And like my body for years used to hive up, where my entire body would hive, and I was in so much pain. I'd be crying, screaming, like it wouldn't go away. It was like I had a bee sting all over my body. And I was just like, oh, like, I don't know what it's from. Like, and I would just ignore it. And then I came here and I was like, wait, my body's really trying to tell me something. What the hell is up? And so I was guided to yoga. Like, intuitively, I was guided. And that's the thing. It's like, when you listen to this, you're like, oh my God, there's so much to do. I don't even know where to start. Like, how am I meant to be like that? All you have to do is listen to your intuition and strengthen that relationship with it. And that's what guides you. Because yoga for me, maybe do jack shit for someone else. Like, yoga may be not good for someone else. Like, you just don't know. And that's what's so powerful about our unique blueprint that our soul gave us. Like, we have all the answers within, and it's not what people want to hear. It's not what sells. It's not
doesn't sell
what
anything.
is no. And but you can help people do this. And the more we do this for ourselves and we receive these answers, the more we're going to help others. And yeah, it's like our body has all the answers. It has everything. It has the ability to heal anything, but we have to listen to it. And that's why illness is such a big thing today, because people don't listen to their bodies. Like, they don't listen to anything, like what they eat, like all the foods in the store. Like, just because something's in the supermarket doesn't mean we're meant to eat it. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, no,
You know, like
absolutely.
there's aerosol cans we're meant to spray in our body that like absorb, right? Like, breast cancer is linked literally to deodorant. It's to bras. It's related to, huge one, what you wash your clothes with. That is a huge, huge, huge one. If you can get a natural one. And the thing is when I learned about this, I was so scared. And it was right when I moved back to Ireland. I got so afraid. I was like, oh no, I really don't want to lose it. And I was holding on for dear life to fit in and to continue doing all these things, even though my heart was like, you are killing yourself. And since letting go, it's been the most freeing thing ever. So it's, as well, it's like, it's actually exciting, because it's just your ego throwing a little tantrum. But on the other side of that ego, it's amazing. It's like, if people realize that like, people are so afraid to let go, including myself. I'm absolutely terrified. Like, I'm not saying this from like, I've let go, I've no ego. I am terrified to let go of my ego. I'm so afraid to let go of it. But everyone is like, we're so afraid to let go of what's not known, like the unknown. Like, we're so comfortable. But I watched this video. I can't remember who it's from, ages ago, and it was like, if people knew what it actually felt like to let go, everyone would do it. Like, there's nothing to fear. So if you're listening, like, anything to do with fear is feeding into the matrix, the illusion. Like, there's nothing to fear.
Wow, so beautiful. I love everything that you just said about your experience of your divine feminine awakening. And I actually think that this year has been the rise of the divine feminine. And I sensed it from the start of the year, because there was all these things going on in the world. There was like big things in the news that were basically that were triggering loads of women's like wounds and traumas around their sensuality being silenced, not being able to own it. Loads of stuff was going on. I was getting triggered. Everyone was. You could see it all over social media. Like, there was so many things going on. And I think we have had a divine feminine awakening in the last this year, like since literally this year. And I feel like a lot of other people in the world have as well. And I could see you were like, when I was seeing things you were putting on social media, like even over the last few months before you moved, I could tell, because I was in that energy myself as well. And all these things you're saying about dancing and everything, like we've been doing it all as well. And
you guys look so beautiful as well. Like, you guys are just radiating. So it's beautiful to see.
It's such an amazing feeling. And when you start to wake up to realize how much you have not been tapped into your own body, tapped into your own pleasure, tapped into like just that we do know it all, that we, and how like just to not even to your power as a woman, like that we are so powerful. We bring, like you said,
not
babies,
in an ego
humans
way.
not in an ego way, in a really beautiful, like amazing way.
World.
As if we need to recognize that and respect that within ourselves and take care of that in ourselves, because we don't. Like, I just
you
all
are
the time,
a god.
all the
Like,
time I think
you, like, women, we are gods, like we as well as men, but like we need to respect that we and when I think power has such a wrong stigma, but it's true. We have so much power.
We do.
If we honor that and we
Mhm.
actually tap into that, like, you know, I go on TikTok sometimes and like I see how much men are treating women in the wrong
Oh my
forms
God.
of
I
like,
know. I can't. When I go on
and
TikTok, like I
it's scary.
literally
It's the younger
no,
generation. It's like
I'm
15 year
literally
olds,
like
and
I
I'm like,
can't.
what?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I don't seem to. But when I go on TikTok
No.
now, I'm literally like because Abby doesn't really use it, she
Worried.
doesn't like it. I don't go on it that
Makes me
much
really, really
now.
weird.
But when I go on it now, I'm literally like, I cannot believe the amount of awful limiting beliefs and horrendous beliefs that all these, I'm not saying this with judgment, I'm saying this like as in I can't
I love
believe that
you.
this is, yeah, from love, from like don't like, as in please don't think that, like all these,
Yeah.
there's so many TikToks about how men treat you, like dating things, and then there's so many things about men, how they're treating women, and vile stuff, and it's like this isn't right, like need to,
Yeah.
this isn't okay. And when I go on, I just see now just so many, it sounds weird, but people's traumas and unhealed things that they're just spewing out on TikTok, and then other people that feel that way are joining in, and like, and
To make
it's
them
like
feel better.
no, and it's like no, like
Yeah.
you don't need to think that, don't perpetuate this, like you can step out and heal and like think of yourself in a different way, like.
Yeah.
But I feel like on TikTok, where it's a much more authentic social media platform to Instagram isn't set up that way, like obviously they have reels and stuff now, but it's still very, constructed, and here you go, final
Yeah.
perfect image now can go out. TikTok, it has a
Yeah.
lot more authenticity, which is nice, but also it brings with that, you can actually see a lot of other people's like heaviness and shadows all
Yeah.
coming up through what they're saying, and I some
Yeah.
of the things I can't believe it, I'm like, no.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And it's like, it's the thing about men is like they're like biologically wired such a different way from women.
Yeah,
They are hunters. Like it is
yeah,
in their DNA, in their blood to hunt. But when we don't, as women, honor ourselves, and this is like, this isn't a blaming men thing, because
no,
men and women are both lost. It's
yeah,
not a thing of like the men are doing that for a reason, because they're in pain. It's
yeah,
not like, the one, but like when we respect ourselves and we know our worth and we honor that, and we do not allow people to, you know yeah, like just don't hurt, like we know our worth and we're not putting up for stuff like that. It allows people to then put into their form, their truest form, because we can only reflect that back in others. Like do you know what I mean? Like we have to lead with that example. But it's the same with men. It's like men are really lost as well. Like they don't know what to do anymore, because women now are more masculine, because we now do careers and we do things, and
yeah,
that's beautiful, that's amazing,
yeah,
but it's finding the balance between the two.
yeah,
And I think that's why men don't know what to do anymore either. Like people, we're also lost. There's no, like, back in the day, like I'm assuming like you guys, like your grandparents definitely didn't divorce. Like they stayed together for
yeah,
like my grandparents were together for like 60 years or something like that. And like that was normal. You got married at that
yeah,
age, and that was your one person, that was your party. And I understand, like my parents are divorced. Like I know it's a thing, a natural thing to break up,
yeah,
but it's like now it's like it's what's happening is like none of that is a thing anymore. Like courting isn't a thing anymore. Like one person isn't a thing anymore. Like cheating is so normal, which is crazy to me, and it's sad. And it's like it all comes back to pain. Like we're all in
yeah,
pain and we're all trying to escape that. So healing it, which is what the world is doing right now. It's like it's actually leading in a really good direction.
yeah,
But yeah, it is crazy when you see sort of things of like the way girls are being screwed over, and the way men are in pain that they do that, right?
yeah, yeah,
Subconsciously, even though
yeah.
their front is like, I go to the
No,
gym and
yeah.
I'm really cool. Like, they're all
It's
going
all
through
from
their own
pain. Yeah,
things.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
it's crazy. But I think it's amazing that like we can all share these. And I think we are the new generation. Like we're gonna be the people who are running this world. And I
yeah.
think it's amazing that we're able to share our voices on these platforms and
No,
bring more
absolutely.
awareness to this, to awaken people to their divine nature. That like they don't have to be these people that we as society are told to do. Like we don't have to try and be, like we can be who we want to be, and it's safe to be that way.
Yeah,
And all my life I never felt safe. I didn't feel
yeah,
it was safe to go into that territory. And the first time I'm like, no, like that's all people want from you. People just want you to be authentic. People
yeah.
don't want to see another mask of another person who's happy and like got it all perfect. Like no, they want realness. Like that's what people crave more than ever.
Mhm.
And it's the most freeing because it's you. You don't have to try to be anyone else.
Yeah.
And that's why I got burned out with YouTube, was because I was trying to be something I wasn't. And I was like, oh my God, I can't. And I went to so many healers and they all said the same thing. They're like, you can't continue doing this because you're going to break if you continue doing this. So like now I have to take a step back and figure out what that is. But just because we're not running all the time doesn't mean we're not going forward in life, because in this world, everyone's trying to achieve success and trying to, it's okay to take a step back, to rest, and then you can bounce above these people, go further than these people, because you're listening to your body. And it's safe to rest, it's safe to take a step back, it's safe. Because what happens is we're looking at the millennials now in their 20s, and I've been there because I was really into like making money online and made a lot of money, and that's what people are doing. But this is their youth, and something's going to happen in 10 years with health for them if they don't listen to their body now. Like if we continue to chase the wrong things, like something is going to manifest to teach our soul a huge lesson, because this is a game. We did not come here to be selfish. We did not come here to just live from our egos and to just, I mean, certain people did because those are soul contracts to influence others. But like we guys, like we awakened people, we did not come here to just for us, basically. Like we came here to help others and help humanity, and through helping others and not having attachment to the outcome, we will get everything we desire. We will get more than we ever thought imaginable, because we deserve that, but it's not doing it for that intention. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I think it's part of like the just really embracing your divine feminine and everything is that feeling of safety, because you create that feeling of safety back within yourself, because you go back into your body, what you were made to feel that you had to be out of and separate from, and that your body wasn't yours. And I say all of this as well as not men versus women, like what you were saying, we're both lost. When I first started to awaken to this, I was like, men, that's how I wasn't fit. And now I've moved past that, and I'm like, they've got loads of their own stuff going on, they need help as well. But it's
I actually believe they have more.
I
know there's no more than less than, but I think literally every man, like from the minute they go, don't cry, like they have to be strong. And like
that it's
the emotions
how much
in
they
there
can't embrace their emotions. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy,
because masculine is like defined to be man. It's like, no, they're literally energies. Like I even hate the words. I prefer yin and yang, because there's no stereotypes to them. Because like when you say like to a man, like, oh, you're feminine, they'll be like, what? Or like I was told like 2 years ago, or I think it was 2 years ago, that I was masculine. It triggered me more than anything. Oh my God, triggered me. But yin and yang are better. Like we both have the energies, and we need both of them for union within. So it's like, it's not going, we don't have to go too far into each, like perfect union, and that's finding harmony. And right now I'm going into the feminine to heal that, and I'm definitely way more feminine now, but I'll get back to that point where it's they're both healed. Do you know? And it's a journey to that. It's a real journey. So
it's amazing. It's amazing that we can talk about this and like this divine feminine thing and everything, because when I first started to awaken to mine, I was really confused and had a lot of, also at first, like a lot of your anger comes up because you've suddenly realized that you've been feeling
so angry.
You've been feeling a certain way about yourself. You've been torturing yourself. You've been being so horrible to yourself.
Oh my gosh.
You've been so horrible to yourself for no good reason, like nothing from place of love, all from how you are made to feel, how society makes you feel. And again, it's not a blame thing. It's this awful paradigm that exists in our world that it's definitely crumbling for sure. And I love how we can sit here, we're both all girls here, like you're 22, we're 24, and we're so young, and we can sit here and talk about this, and then all these other women are going to hear it, and all it takes is this little conversation to spark off. That's all it took for me, was hearing a few people mention things on Instagram, and it got things ticking into my mind, and then my intuition just led the rest. And like I've never felt better, I've never felt more powerful, and I've never felt more confident and in tune with myself, and I've just let go of all these horrific stories that I was holding against myself, all from what you're fed and what you're told to feel, and what so many women are made to feel. And when you come out on the other side, and I'll keep going, I'll keep healing, I'll keep like it won't stop. But once you go back on the other side,
I keep feeling.
it's absolutely incredible. And like that's why I just love that we can talk about this right now, because this is going to be the conversation that's going to make somebody else go on that journey, that is going to change their life. And
this
I
episode's magical.
Yeah, it's very magical. And
very.
I think as well, and this is weird, I always talk about like my future children. Like
Every
I'm
girl
like
does.
Abby's always like, what the hell? But
No,
like,
it's not the future children, it's the
spirit
spirit
babies.
babies. She has spirit babies. And I just don't have them. I don't think it's weird. I just don't have spirit babies. If you do.
Do you believe in reincarnation?
Yeah.
Okay, isn't it crazy that like our children could be on this planet right now?
I thought we were like that. Well, yeah, yours probably are because you hang around with you all the time.
Yeah, this is the thing, right? I like hadn't read anything about this. I hadn't heard anybody say anything about this, but I kept feeling like, and I'm going to sound crazy, but I don't care, whatever.
No, you're not. You're not.
I kept feeling like I had 2 babies, spirit babies around me, and I'd be meditating and they'd be there.
That's beautiful.
And like, I know what they're called, I know what their characters are like, I know which one's coming first and which one's coming next, and know exactly what their essence is and who they are. And I feel them. I can say I'm gonna feel them now, but I actually sound like I'm crazy, but I don't care. This is my truth.
You don't sound like you're crazy at all.
This is real. And I'd say to my mom, like, did you feel me before I came into the world? Like, did you feel my spirit or my soul, like, with you before I came? She was like, no. I was like, so what, like, this spirit baby thing, is this not a thing? Because my kids are already here. And she was like,
this is beautiful.
Yeah, at first she was like, Grace, I'm a bit worried that maybe you're getting a bit attached to something here, and like, imagine it, and then I don't need to be
my
disappointed.
Babies.
Yeah, no. And then I was like, no, it's something, Mum, it feels. And then anyway, I kept joking about it. Like I say it all the time as a joke, I am a spirit babies. And then actually I was with my mum the other day and she Googled it, and it's an actual thing. Like, I just had never researched it, but it is, there's books about it, and it is a real thing. But I always, like, I feel them around me, and I always just think, I'm so much of the awakening that I'm doing within myself, especially around the divine feminine. I just think, because they're just 2 girls, my future kids. I always just think, what, like, all this knowledge that I have now, if I can give that to them, their life is going to be so different. It's going to be so much more blissful and full of love and self-love and just confidence and enjoying life. And because I just have realized how much, as a girl, you grow up and you just feel all this self-hatred and confusion and pain.
We're so insecure.
Your voice is blocked and everything, and it's all linked to that. So I always just think as well, like, about how I will then raise, not saying my mum did a bad job or anything, like, she had her own.
It's ancestral. It's like generations.
And breaking that, and then just thinking about how you can, obviously we can impact people now in the conversations we're having, but then being able to bring other people into the world and then help them have a completely different life experience. Like, it's the most amazing thing. And like, that's one of my big motivations. If that's weird,
that's
then
beautiful. That's literally the anchor of divine feminine. It's like creating a family. Like, I'm still not like there. That's amazing. It's beautiful. But I always say this,
I've not got any babies on the way. I've not even got a boyfriend. I've got no one to have babies with. But
future boyfriend, stop listening. No, like, I always say this, but it's like, I almost get angry about it sometimes. I'm like, our children are the luckiest shits in the world because we've done all the work for them.
Literally.
We've healed all the trauma, all the ancestral things. Like, I'm like, they're the luckiest kids in the entire world. They've won the jackpot. They're not grateful.
They have.
But it's really refreshing you say that about the self-hatred. It's true. It's like, women, and this is something, because like I've spoken to this guy, and he's like, guys are very unaware of how insecure women are. Because men are wired like women, like, they just, they're just, wow, like, they have so much more testosterone, they're way more attractive, like, but us as women, we're deeply embedded in shame and guilt for, like, the minute we're born, we're given shame for having a woman's body. Like, the minute we're born and we have, like, where we start to go through puberty and we grow, the minute we do that, we are instantly attached to shame just for purely being here, like, purely just sitting here and existing. It's like, that's crazy. Like, that's how deep rooted and painful this is. So when we turn this into something beautiful, we transmute this, like, that's what's happening right now, and it's like it's crazy, it's exciting.
Yeah.
And I think it's beautiful. Like I think
No,
it's
it
amazing
is.
what you guys are doing. I think it's I'm excited. I'm just
Yeah,
excited.
beautiful.
This was such a magical episode. I feel like very like airy fairy, like spacey kind of. Like I feel
So
like
do
Yeah.
I.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was
It
amazing
was
combo.
amazing. I can't wait for us all to meet. It's going to be the most magical thing ever.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. Are you guys moving to Italy?
Yeah, well, we're gonna come. We've not booked it yet, but we're gonna come in September.
Mm,
And we're planning to just go for a month, but see what
we'll
You won't
happens,
see.
leave.
Yeah, well, that's how I'm just ready to like just go. I'm just
Yeah,
going with the intuition.
yeah.
But
Yeah. If
See
your
where
heart's
it
telling
takes.
you,
Yeah,
it'll be
exactly.
exciting.
literally. Yeah,
No, this
You
conversation has
might meet a
been
boy.
yeah,
amazing.
exactly.
Italians are really nice.
Yeah, they are. I love
Italian
Italians,
spirit babies.
and also oh god, my heritage is Italian as well. Like because my mum is from America, but she was adopted, so I've got all this lineage that I know nothing about. It's all connected to me, and what has also
Wow.
been part of my divine feminine awakening as well is that I had like my mum's natural mum come back and visit me and to teach me something to help me awaken and to pass messages on to mum. It was really crazy, but all this
Wow.
there's all this lineage that I started to tap into and heal things from her. And because what I find really interesting is that, like, so I've never obviously met my mum's natural mum. My mum obviously met her when she was born, and my mum was then taken away straight away for
Mhm.
adoption. Um,
Aw.
but I came into the world, I was born 2 weeks after my natural mum's mum died. So when my actual real blood grandma died and passed off back into the spiritual realm, the soul realm, I came in, and I think we crossed over, and like and
I
that's
can
why some
rock.
of the things that I've know and that I've learned and this wisdom that I have
What
for
if you are
someone.
her?
No, this is the thing, and that's what my
I think
mum
maybe
has.
you are.
That's what my mum has said before as well. That
Oh,
she was
that's
like, "I
so
think you're her,
creepy.
like reincarnate." Yeah, because I,
Who are you?
yeah, no, me and my mum have this relationship where I'm kind of her mum in a way, like as in I give her advice more than she gives it to me and all this stuff, and
Yeah.
that's how it's always been, even from when I was really young, like 13, 14. Like I was this
Oh, that just gave me
emotional support for
shivers.
her,
That
and
makes
give this
sense.
crazy advice to her even when she was going through a hard time, even when I was that young. And like, how did a 13-year-old girl have all this wisdom to support like a adult in there? Like it was just crazy. But
That is
yeah, so
fascinating.
I'm like drawn back
Wow.
to Italy, and I love Italians, and I've had a lot of Italian friends as well when I was growing up, through,
Mm.
because there's Italians that live where I live through, like, from things to do with work and stuff. And because my mum's lineage is all Italian, and then they just moved to America like when in like the generation above my mum, but all of that, they're all Italian. So I've got that draw to that culture and the food. I love it, and the people, and so I think that's
That's
why we
really
were like
amazing.
Italy.
I
Like
feel like
I've always wanted to
you're
it's a
visit.
gonna be.
heart desire. Yeah,
I feel like something huge is gonna happen. Like not something you expect. Like I feel like you're gonna get like a deep trigger that's going to change your life in a beautiful way, or like
yeah,
you're going to
Ooh.
attract or meet someone. Something's gonna happen.
yeah,
That's really interesting. That is so fascinating.
yeah.
That is so fast
Crazy.
because I'm so interested in past lives and
Yeah.
reincarnation. I've remembered many past lives.
Mm,
That's like a whole other topic. And it's like, I have to share one real quick.
Yeah,
I've always
I
had a
love
fear
it.
of the water. Like every time
yeah.
as a kid, got in the water, I'd always go to my mom since I was 3 years old, like, Mummy, I have this feeling again. Like it was this feeling of just being abandoned, like whenever I touched water. So a shower, a bath, I still get it to this day. Like I
Mm,
went scuba diving a couple weeks ago and I remember just, it's this rush of just feeling so alone. And yeah. So I used to get that all the time and I was meditating for like 20 minutes and then I got a vision of myself and my wife and I worked on a ship and I was poor, and then it gave me, I'm not going to say the name, but it gave me the first, the middle, and the last name and the dates that I was born and I died. And I Googled it, and everything was of that vision. And the person had died in a sinking ship. But
yeah.
he wasn't known, he's not famous, there was nothing to him. It
Yeah.
was just like a record. But it was the wife, the vision I received,
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
from
That's
like in the
crazy.
Crazy.
1800s. And
Mm,
I was like, what? And then I had another one where I got a vision of the girl, the name. I was a singer and she died the day before I was born.
Oh
So
my
yeah. I think I
that
god.
was
remember
really
hearing you
interesting.
mention that on one of your podcasts, and
Yeah.
I was like, it's
Because sometimes
crazy.
souls can
Yeah.
go right back
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
or they can stay up in the realms for
Yeah.
years. But
Yeah.
time isn't, you
An
see, that's the thing about
illusion.
time. It's like, I still sometimes get confused about it, like about the whole time thing. Like I'm like,
Mm.
what? What? Like we're
I feel
still
like it's so
moving.
hard
So
to get
there
your head
is
around that.
time. oh, it's really difficult. It's like 2 years into the 2 years, and 2 years isn't real in the spiritual world. So I'm like, but then what happened in that time? But then time doesn't, like, what, like, oh, it's just,
Yeah.
oh, it's trippy.
Yeah.
You can get lost in it. That's amazing though. But
Yeah.
you guys have awakened so much as well. Like, I
Yeah,
feel
we
like we're on
have.
such similar paths. Like, I
Yeah.
can't wait to meet you guys as well. I
Yeah.
didn't realize you guys were 24 as well.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to go and take
Young,
all this in.
young
It's been
divine
amazing.
feminine's awakening.
I can't wait to listen to this. Like, I cannot
Yeah.
wait to listen back to this.
I literally can't wait to listen to it back. Literally,
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you
really
so much.
No, thank you for having me on. I honestly really enjoyed that chat. Like, I just feel so relaxed. I'm like, wow.
It's really nice
I feel
to just
so much better.
hear you speaking your truth, and then we can speak ours. And
yeah,
and
I feel
we've
like
been on similar like awakenings recently. It's just nice because you don't talk about this with people. You're not like, oh yeah, so I'm always
these are the conversations I
love.
Small talk.
Yeah, so it's so fulfilling. It's amazing, and like just to have.
They're my favorite conversations. Like,
yeah. And I think because you're so open, it makes us open.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
What we just spoke about now, we haven't spoke about that on the podcast.
No,
before.
yeah, I probably was never going to talk about spirit babies on the
never spoke about that, or like faces.
Oh, I think it's beautiful. It's like everything plants a seed. Because like when I used to listen to spiritual podcasts a few years ago, I didn't believe anything, but now I do, and I think it was because of that seed. So I think it's so great that you're talking about it. I think it takes so much courage and vulnerability, because I know it sounds crazy, and especially when you still have your ego, because I do, and I've been the person judging, and I know so clearly how people can hear this and go, oh, what the hell? And like, you fear that judgment, but it's like, you're just embodying your truest form, and that's inspiring others to do the same. So,
exactly. And I feel like when you just do embody your truth so much, you feel so amazing that the happiness and the bliss you feel from it overrides as well the fear of what someone might think or whatever. You just like, whatever. This is me.
Even though we always will care what people think, because it's in our DNA, like that's in our physical human body, like we're a soul, but we came here to be human. So the ego has like a very important part, because if we were kicked out of the if we didn't fit in, or we care what people think, because if we were kicked out, we'd die, because we had to be a part of the pact. So it is our natural DNA to care what people think. And I actually believe we will never not care what people think. To a certain degree, we won't, but like, we always have that little inkling, but it doesn't have to be half as bad as it is now, because I know for me, it's bad.
Lastly, just where everyone can find you, even though I feel like most of our followers probably do follow you, because they're like obsessed with you, because you're amazing. But yeah, for the ones that don't, where can we find you? Are you mainly on YouTube now, is that right?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on as well. Like, oh, it's so lovely to see you blossom. Like, we have to do another one in like 6 months. I'd love to see where our lives are. Like, I'd love to see, because I think what I'm going to do is like later I'm going to listen back to the first one, because I think it's so important to reflect and realize how far you've come. And I even like, I feel like we're so different, like so different. But yeah, thank you so much. And I do YouTube, so it's Ella Ringrose. And then I'm obsessed with podcast. Like, I love podcasting. I actually prefer it to YouTube. But I have a podcast called the Ella Ringrose Podcast, and then my Instagram is at Ella Ringrose. So that's it. All my name. Yeah.
Anyone that goes to follow you now, is literally, your life is about to change. Literally. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I had so much fun. I feel so happy now. I was like in a weird mood, and I'm just like, oh, I love doing these things. So I appreciate it. And I think it's so beautiful what you guys are doing. And I'm just excited to keep going on our journeys. And like, we have to do another one in 6 months. I would love to do that.
Definitely.
Yeah, I feel like so much. Maybe I was about to say maybe you'll have a baby, but that's not even physically possible. So
oh my god,
like, I've got my spirit babies here. Next thing you know, we're naked doing podcasts, like we can ascended, like, hello, Master Ella.
I don't ever want to get to that stage.
Huh?
I love it. I can already see it. You never know.
Yeah, Hoganagananda Ella, like,
oh my god,
walks into the room. I don't know. No, thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
I had
much.
so much fun. I cannot wait to listen to this. Like, I'm so excited to listen back to this.
Yeah, it's going to be out on Wednesdays.
I actually can't get over how good that conversation was. Like, I enjoyed recording it so much, and we've been vibing so high.
Yeah.
Literally like all day.
Yeah. real high. It was a beautiful conversation. I just love that young women can sit here and have these conversations about taking back their power. Just powerful conversation. So I hope you felt the power in it as well, and I'm sure it's planted a lot of seeds for you and potentially is going to evoke you to embark on your divine feminine awakening journey, because it's a fun journey to go on.
Yeah, definitely. And if you heard anything in this and you were like, wow, go and send it to one of your friends or multiple friends, because they will probably have the same thing, and we are all going to wake up together.
Yeah.
It's so exciting.
Wake up. But yeah, the podcast spreads best by word of mouth. So you guys sharing it in your group chats, sharing it with your friends, sharing it on your Instagram story is the most powerful way for finding your feet to grow and for the message to get out there and help more people. So we appreciate everybody who shares the podcast. And yeah, if you love this show today, then go and share it with a friend, because they might love it too and want to join the Find Your Feet community. But thank you so much for listening, guys. And let Ella know as well if you enjoyed this, because I feel like we got to like really pick at her brain. Like she obviously she does her own podcast and YouTubes and like shares a lot, but we had really got to go and be open and deep today. So yeah, so if you want to join our community and chat to us some more, let us know what you thought about the show and just interact with us. Come and follow us on Instagram at Finding Your Feet Podcast. That is where we are every single day of the week. It's our main social hub, and we love just chatting to you guys in the comments and DMs on Instagram. It's our fave.
Yeah, definitely come and follow us on Instagram if you want to see Grace dancing around. And lots of other fun stuff. And if you do want to come and join us on our new webinar, which we cannot wait for, the link is in the show notes to go and purchase your tickets.
Yeah, come and join us for the Self-Belief Embodied Experience webinar on the 29th of July, 7 p.m. GMT, live on Zoom. It's going to be magical. Breathe with James is joining us at the end to do breath work with us all for manifestation. It's going to be crazy. So go, you don't want to miss this one. We took a break from the webinars, and this one, we're coming back with a bang. We took a break because we were like, we need to take them to the next level now. And this is the next level. So can't wait to see you guys there. Can't wait to spend the evening with you. Thank you so much for listening to the episode, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.